Today's Tuesday, September 13th. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Weeby and then the invocation by Commissioner Oliveira. So if you'd please stand. Before we do that, we'd like to take a moment to remember lifelong chapter resident who passed away on August 27th, Mr. John William Johnson. He was a city council member, mayor, and then served on this committee as well. We'd like to do a moment of silence for he and his wife, who just most recently passed. So if you would join me in that.
Salute pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, we give you thanks for allowing us to be here today. We ask you to give us the wisdom and knowledge to make decisions for the better of our country.
Okay, for attendance, may it be noted that all commissioners are here except for Commissioner Sanchez. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion. I move.
Commissioner Nunless,
Aye.
Franz,
Aye.
Weeby,
Aye.
and Olvera.
Minutes of the previous meeting. Last regular meeting was last month, August 9th, 2022. Trust you all had a chance to look them over and we'll entertain a motion.
Motion we approve the minutes.
Commissioner Nunless,
Aye.
Franz,
Aye.
Olvera, and Weeby.
All right, this time we'll move right into public comment. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons who wishing to address the commission only on matters not listed on this agenda. If there's anyone who would like to make public comment, please do it at this time. Okay, seeing none, we will close public comment, open up the public hearing. We have one item. We'll move right into it. Conditional use permit number 21-123. And Director Esselman, if you would present, that'd be great.
Thank you, Chair and Honorable Commission. This is a conditional use permit 21-123, or the Myers Big Stop expansion. Let's get this. Okay, perfect. So this is the site on the northwest corner of Shafter Avenue and Beth Eden Avenue. The description, there's an existing service station that is it's considered a service station with convenience store. It is currently a non-conforming use, meaning that it basically was constructed prior to CUP requirements. So it's considered legal non-conforming. Since the applicant is coming in, part of the CUP would take it from legal non-conforming to by right use. Currently, there is a 4,500 square foot convenience store. There is one fuel canopy with 3 pumps. There's an existing propane tank, and there is parking. The applicant is proposing a 2-phase expansion where they would have a new fuel canopy and the applicant actually corrected me prior to the meeting, with 3 pumps. The existed on the north side of the existing convenience store, and we'll show you a map here in a second. The existing fuel canopy would be demolished. There would also be an additional 3,000 square foot retail store. There would be reconfigured and additional parking, as well as new curb, gutter, sidewalk, landscaping, and a block wall, as well as a new stand-up propane tank. Thank you. This is currently the existing site. So you can see the existing convenience store, the existing fuel canopy, how the parking is generally laid out. And to the west of the potential site expansion is 4 existing single-family residential homes. However, under a separate general plan amendment and zone change, these areas have already been changed to commercial use. Go ahead and go to the next one, please. This is the proposed expansion. As you can see, the existing convenience store would remain. The fuel canopy. The existing fuel canopy to the east of the existing store would be removed, and the new fuel canopy to the north would be put in its place. There would be additional parking. There would be a movement of the propane tank, as you can see, north of the future retail space would be moved from a location that is nearer to the northern boundary of the site to a location that is closer to that future retail space. There would also be a reconfiguration of the trash enclosure that's to the north of the site there. You can see that. It is important to note that the actual northern strip of land is city owned. It's a small strip of land that is city owned. As part of the conditions of approval, we'll get in this a little bit more. Staff is recommending as part of the conditions that the owner buy that 5-inch strip of property and make it a part of their overall site. It would give them a little bit more room for the maneuvering. Also, currently, the existing signage for the facility is on city-owned property. So I wanted to give you, there's of course all this sort of general engineering, planning and building conditions that are required. But beyond that, there is the purchase of a 5-foot wide strip of city-owned property along the northern perimeter as a potential condition. There's an existing alley through the site. And what the city and owner have come to agree upon is that the city, and it's city-owned, it's sort of that, it's the alley that would run between the two buildings. And currently it's city owned. What we would do is deed that over to the owner, and then the owner would make a public easement back to the city. Essentially, we don't want the city to own property in between his two things. And with the public easement, the function of it being used as a public easement would still be available to that. It would just make it cleaner, essentially. There's also the existing public alley to the north. What we would do prior to building and providing a building permit is we would enter into a common use agreement so that that alley would remain could be used by the public, and by, more importantly, the trash collectors. And then one other additional notable condition is that there would be need to be a lot line adjustment of the 3 parcels into 1 parcel, because there's going to be common utilities, and we don't allow common utilities to cross over property lines. Each property needs to have its own set of utilities. So the most expeditious way to do this is to do a lot line adjustment to merge the 3 parcels into 1. Go ahead and change. So the recommendation here is to conduct a hearing and then to adopt a resolution 21-378, which approves conditional use permit 21-123. You will also notice that we received very late a letter from the Caron County Fire Marshal's office, essentially telling them that if this is developed, you would have to meet certain fire flow requirements, as well as some requirements regarding the above ground tank, essentially the propane tank. And these have already been captured in the conditions of approval. So we certainly agree with the owner having to adhere to fire code standards. And with that, that concludes my presentation. I am available for any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any questions before we open up the public hearing? Okay, seeing none, we will open up the public comment on this item. So if anybody would like to speak in favor or against this agenda item, please do so now. Okay. Okay. So we will close. Do you want to speak? Yeah. Yeah. Just state your name and address just for the record.
My name is Lovedeep Joshan. My address is 127 South Shafter Avenue here in Shafter.
Thanks.
And the only question we had was number 25, the hours of our operation. Currently, I had told Steve that we were going to be open from 3:30 a.m. to 1 a.m. Monday through Friday. And from 3:30 a.m. to 2 a.m. Friday through Saturday. But as I was telling Steve, I was trying to ask if we can be open 24 hours a day. Because our customers are asking, and I think that probably work out better for us.
Does that mean the convenience store open?
Yes.
Because the pumps are always open.
Yeah,
24,
always
right?
open, yeah.
Okay.
The only thing I would really say to that is I checked the zoning ordinance. There is no restrictions against 24 hours. Really, it's a matter of whether you feel comfortable as a commission to allow it due to, let's say, nearby uses and light spillover effects. But you do have a McDonald's to the north. It's a pretty heavily commercialized area. It really is under your purview whether you would like to grant that requested change in the conditions. And if you do approve the resolution, you would want to read into the record that you would like to amend that if you so wish.
That's for 24 hours a day.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
I don't have any problem with that.
I would like to see us. I agree. I think it would give additional options for stores that we have open. And it gets pretty crowded. And I've been to the store
Right.
as well, and you guys, there's a lot.
Yeah.
So.
That was the
Yeah,
only
that
request.
was the only
Thank you.
question.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Okay, we'll close public comment. Any more discussion amongst the commissioners, or we'll entertain a motion? Remember that amendment.
You know, I got one question. You know, the meetings I've been to, like with the planning commission meetings, and that they're always harping on us to provide more housing. You know, the city, now we're taking housing away. Is that kosher?
Well, well, currently, because the general plan amendment and zone changed it to commercial, we can't count them as part of our inventory anymore. And so they're basically allowed because they're legal non-conforming. But if there was any new development on the site, it would have to be of commercial in nature. It could not be residential in nature unless a general plan amendment and zone change occurred again to change it back to residential. This is a little wider than this project, but there is going to be a point in time where we're going to be discussing additional sites for housing with the housing element. I think at that point in time, we'll be able to make up for the loss of these 4 homes. But yeah, I mean, at this point, they can be there. I mean, you don't have to knock them down, but if anything new to be developed on the site, it would have to adhere to the commercial zoning standards rather than a residential zoning standard.
That was a good question, Ron, because I thought the same thing. I thought we're gonna get in trouble with the state.
Yeah, because they always harping on us to provide. Well, if it hasn't been changed yet, then that could still be used as housing.
The general plan amendment zone change to change the site to commercial has already occurred.
Yeah,
But no building has occurred yet.
No commercial development has occurred
Right,
yet.
so
No.
it could still be used as housing.
Sure, absolutely. I'm more saying just sort of when we count up the numbers, it doesn't fit the right box to allow us to sort of count it as part of our housing stock because of its zoning. It's sort of a temporary use until a commercial use comes into that site because it is zoned and designated for commercial.
did we read the recommendation before?
No.
The recommendation read.
No, I can read the recommendation to you right now if you would like. No, we
No,
have
it
not read the
wasn't.
recommendation yet.
I make a motion for the planning commission to adopt resolution 22-408, a resolution of the planning commission of the city of Shafter approving conditional use permit number 21-123. Expansion of existing non-conforming service station with convenience store with or without alcohol and beverage sales located on assessors parcel numbers 26-171-13 through 5. Adopting the above findings and approving the conditions of approval proposed in exhibit B of the resolution and amended to be open 24 hours a day.
I'll second.
Commissioner Rivera, Wiebe,
Aye.
Nunless,
Yeah.
and Franz.
Aye. Okay, that concludes the public hearings. Close the public hearing, move on to commissioner reports. Just happy to be here. Just happy to be here, Ron.
Yeah.
We're happier.
All right, then we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.